Level 6, Face Shrine. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. In the last part, we did some stuff around the overworld, finding some really odd reliefs in the process, and I just blew up 3 wizards with 1 bomb. Now starting off, the Face Shrine is actually a fairly non-linear dungeon, but at the same time, it's also fairly basic. It has more splitting pathways, but for the most part, you'll be accessing every room anyway, so getting lost shouldn't be too hard. However, one thing I will tell you, go west first, because the entire left half of the dungeon is where most of the stuff is. Also, you can blow up this wall. The way the pathway goes is supposed to lead you there. Is that a guy with an elephant statue for a head? Yes, it is. The entire thing with this room is that it's 4 green Zolls you have to kill. It's pretty simple. I don't even know why the torches are there. I guess they're just there to be like torches in the guy's hands, or maybe he's throwing fireballs at our face. Whoa, that's a giant-ass spark. You actually may have seen me do it earlier in the parts, in the past, like, minute. Yes, but I know. If you use a boomerang on sparks, you actually get a fairy every time. A bit weird, because usually that's with the anti-fairies, but either way. Wizrobes are here, and I go the complete wrong way of killing them. First off, you can only kill them with arrows or bombs. I think it takes like 4 arrows or 1 bomb. But the entire recording session, I entirely forgot about bomb arrows, which takes them out instantly. I was being stupid. Thankfully, you don't have to fight them that many times. Either way, come up here for the more powerful bracelets. Now we can almost lift a whale. It's a level 2 power bracelet. I do have to admit, I like what they did more so in Ocarina of Ages. Yes, in Oracle of Ages, where they gave you the power glove. Because, well, let's be honest, repeating the power glove joke is kind of funny, but also kind of not. Either way, up here, we're back where that Shy Guy was earlier. Don't you love how maps work like that? I know I do. And wow, could I have sounded any more like a stereotypical nerd there? Gotta say though, the music here does not really do it for me. It feels like it's trying to be the Southern Face Shrine, only without the Ballad of the Windfish melody, which is what made that song so good. And we got more Wizrobes. You do need to kill these. Well, you don't actually need to kill these guys, but I want to because we get a chest for doing so. Thankfully, the boomerang at least stuns them, you know, like it should in every other Zelda game in existence. Come to think of it, was there ever a Zelda game where it didn't do that? I don't think there was. Huh. Either way, and here we get the dungeon map. Which, if we look at it, looks like a face. With horns for some reason. Unless it's supposed to be Hylian's ears, I don't know. Is it Hylian or Hyrulean? They're never quite clear about that. I think they may switch it up every now and then, actually. And over here we get the stone beak. I think this is a stone tablet in the original version. Mind you, a lot of them are stone tablets. Yeah, the weird thing is, a lot of the items are really close to each other, and this was actually me being dumb. I actually want those ones up, because that allows me to grab a pot. One thing this dungeon loves to do is the thing where we have to throw a pot. Oh, stupid piece of power. Redundant now. You know, it does actually further power my sword up, I believe. Anyways, I was saying, this thing likes to do a thing that was in the Candlelit Castle, and I think in one of the previous dungeons, like, probably, Catfish's mom, actually, where you can throw things at the door to open it. And here we get the compass! Yeah, every major dungeon item is really close to each other, to it in this dungeon, except for the Nightmare's Key. That's a bit farther down the road. No, I might not like the Face Shrine theme, but I'd rather be listening to it than this music. Now those things look strange. You're gonna learn to hate those things by the end of the dungeon. Anyway, you do want to hit the previous switch so that this room is, you know, accessible. Otherwise, you're in for a bad time. Oh, that's a weird thing. I don't think the Oracle games did this, but you can only actually have 1 bomb out at a time. I don't like that. I think that was just them maybe overlooking something, or I'm not sure. It's an oversight, I think, more so than anything. And now we're back in this room west where we got the compass, so I can throw this at that. And in here we get 100 rupees. Cool, let's what we get up here. We get secret seashell number 22, or rather 20 rupees. It's one of the few times I think you can actually exit a dungeon like that in the series. At least for an item. I can think of one other thing, but yeah. Either way, here's the way these things work. I'm only showing you this first time in full. In order for them to activate, you need to land them both up with their heads upright. And this is surprisingly tricky to do. They do go through that frame in their animation when they're tumbling, I believe, so you can at least have a way to tell where they're gonna go. But it's really annoying and it takes a bit too long, so with all future ones, I'll be cutting to when I get them right. Because that could be time that you guys get wasted of yours, which I don't like to do. You didn't see anything. Thankfully, though, once you get all the items, this dungeon becomes pretty quick. I say that, well, I say quick, but we're here for the next 10 minutes, but really a lot of the dungeons in Link's Awakening aren't long hunts. Enter the space where the eyes have walls. What that's hinting towards is that on the map, both the spaces where the eyes are on the face are actually rooms. Like you could tell, in order to get the power bracelet, I went into the room where the left eye was. But yeah, Link's Awakening, none of the dungeons are terribly long dungeon crawls like they are in the 3D games. I immediately think of the Sky Dungeon in Twilight Princess, which took me it usually takes me at least an hour and a half to beat. And then there's what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of the dungeon and the game. Well, Skyward Sword. A couple of dungeons there took me almost 2 hours. Which, mind you, isn't bad. If they're well designed, I'll have fun in it. Like, I really loved the Ancient Cistern, which is one of the longer dungeons in my eyes in that game. Mind you, I haven't played Skyward Sword since its release, so it's been a while. And in here we get an old friend. The Tiles of Doom and Destruction. However, this time the shield is very effective. Like, they can never touch you as long as you're at the right angle. Effective. Really odd sound effect, though, I have to say. And in here, you can head north, but you don't want to yet because there's another key door in your way that you're going to want another key for. And in here we have to deal with Wiz Robes, which I'm going to be cutting past this because that took me an obnoxiously long amount of time. How long? Go back and check that little title clip that took less than a second to scroll by. It was a multiple of 3, I'll tell you that. No. Well, here's a fun little glitch I figured out a few playthroughs back. Hop on top of the crystals to move forward. You can talk to him without being in front of him. I think it's because the sprite's technically not on the exact thing. Either way, as he says, we can hop on these blocks in order to do some platforming to get over to here. If I recall, the Oracle games use that as well. And for doing this, we get one of Crazy Tracy's secret potion for some reason. I don't know why it's over here, but it is. Now, one of the things that my friends often bring up about this game, by my friends, I mean my cousin, rather, is that while he loves the Zelda series, he finds constantly having to pause the game in this, due to the only 2 items at a time thing that this and the Oracle games have, and Minish Cap, actually. He finds constantly pausing the game a bit of a pace breaker. By the way, now we're back in that room where the keyhole was at the north, and honestly, I can agree with him. It can seem like it's breaking the pace, but I don't mind it too much because usually the pauses are less than like 3 seconds, so it's nothing too bad. Heck, speedruns in this game are still pretty quick, especially in Link's Awakening because they use the original version. Either way, there's a bumpable wall right here. You can tell because it's one of the eyes. And here we get, I think this guy's name is Smasher. Pretty easy mini-boss. What you do is that you lift his iron ball and throw it at his face. It takes 4 hits with it in order to destroy him. However, that thing does hurt if it hits you. I think it does maybe a heart and a half. I'm not entirely sure. It depends on multiple factors, really. But overall, extraordinarily easy mini-boss fight. Now, I have to wonder how all these bosses explode. And here's a bit of an interesting thing. On the map, you notice there's no space in front of us. That is true. If you go north, you'll end up in one of the previous rooms. So what you have to do here is actually lift up the left elephant statue, and that brings us to here. If you keep on going north from there, you'll just be in an endless loop, so just head down here. Oh, great! More tiles of death and doom and destruction and other D-words. Derailment. Though this time it's a bit trickier, I suppose, because once they leave a hole, but we have the rock sweater. It's nothing too threatening. Also, that block... How did those blocks there at the bottom just destroy themselves? I understand the one hit the other, but what happens to the one at the very bottom? Was there even a fall sound there? I think it was taken up by the key get sound bite. Huh. Interesting. Either way, you can probably tell what we have to do here. Pick up the thing, throw it at the thing. And more of these things. That took about 40 seconds. Which isn't too bad. It's the next one that was really offensive. There's only one more time we have to deal with those in this dungeon at least. I forget if we ever see them again. By the way, just Pegasus boots underneath these thwimps. But the next, the best way to put it is chess piece puzzle. Took me about 2 minutes. Anyway, we've got some Poles voices here. They still hate loud noises. The flute instant kills them. Like the flutes did in the Oracle games, actually. I always did like that idea that there's multiple ways to kill an enemy besides just the way you'd think. I always like it when dungeons do that. And here we are. These two horse heads. Knight chess pieces, whatever. I hate them. They took forever. Well, we get 200 rupees for doing this, so it's pretty worth it. Even though from here on out, I can't remember much of a use for rupees. Unless you really want to do the raft ride over again. Or if you need to buy potions. Beyond that, nothing really is money useful in. That was grammar. Past getting the frog sung a soul. Oh, great, the Dongo Snakes are back. And I just fast-forwarded it because we've seen these guys before. And the fact I was playing pretty badly until one of them gets in a corner. Yeah, they're really weak to corners, who would know? There's that and the fact I like the way the sound effects sound when sped up. It's nice and funny. Which actually reminds me of that one video Kenny did, Yoshi's Island with me. And I was fast-forwarded, and I sounded pretty cool and fast-forward, like a really badass Alvin and the Chipmunk, well, not Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chip and Dale character. Anyway, here's a bit of an interesting room. Try to open this chest? You can't. So what do we do that we've done in the rest of the dungeon? Pick a thing up and throw it at it. And for doing that, we get the Nightmare's Key. And if you don't figure that out at first, this guy tells you to do it. To open a treasure chest, use the pots around it. That took me a while to figure out my first playthrough because I didn't exactly connect the dots. Also, there's a block switch there, but it's not useful. And now we're back here. Because we want to head south now. Oh, lordy lord. Oh, boy. Well, thank you for killing yourself, Zol. That actually helps my cause quite a bit. And here we are in the second to last room with a Beamos. I think this is the first Beamos we've actually seen. Huh. Bit late to the party there, buddy. Well, that was immensely easier than I thought it would be. Thank you for following. Thank you, Gravity. Though I actually didn't like that movie too much. It wasn't too bad, but... eh. Either way, we're obviously right before the boss room, but there's a weird thing you can do here. Even though, well, mind you, you're not necessarily guaranteed to have the boomerang, but what you can do is that you can light these two torches and these guys get turned into fairies. But if you have the boomerang, it's kinda useless. Either way, time for a familiar boss, and to do some damage really quick, place bombs in the center. This guy looks familiar from the Oracle games. Well, hey dummy, need a hint? My weak point is... Oops, here I go talking too much again. This is Facade. He likes to disappear and throw various things at you. He starts with floor tiles. He'll eventually make holes in the floor. He's nothing too bad. He only takes like 6 bombs to the face if even. And as I showed you, you can get bonus hits in pretty quickly if you know he's there. Heck, if anything, he's more threatening in Oracle because you see him at least 2 or 3 times. Okay, listen up. If the windfish wakes up, everything on this island will be gone forever. And I do mean everything. Okay. Give me your heart piece, even though you don't have a body to have a heart with. Does his blood pump through only through his eyeballs? Ugh. That's a gross thought. We've got the coral triangle. Mountain. Something calls from the mountains. Well, that was a thing. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 13, we'll be heading towards the next dungeon. See you guys then.